2, and we're live. Welcome to another episode of A Podcast. Your host, Stephen Maxted, and we have Cheryl Zealand with Cranked Energy Bars. I didn't even ask you how to say your last name. Hopefully, I got that right. I do this once
It's
in a
like
while.
New Zealand. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
No test run there. That's live on the spot, folks. Welcome, Cheryl. We've been looking forward to this and having you on here. And as I mentioned before, I came prepared. I'm cranked and coffee in hand, just like your sweater. I normally have coffee anyways, but
Right?
um,
The best
yeah.
feeling. Everyone
So
should start their morning with coffee and cranked.
they really should. Yeah, absolutely. And I thank you so much for joining us. We've kind of crossed paths a little bit and then quite frankly literally ran into each other at our favorite mutual coffee shop, I think I would say, over at Good Earth there. And you did a
Yeah,
great job of coming and catching me there.
right
Uh,
there.
there you go. Shout out to Good Earth and Graham and team. And yeah, then we wanted to get you on the podcast here, and thanks for making time. I know you just came off a busy weekend. We were talking about it before. You were out in Saskatoon at Third and Bird, and yeah, how was that for you? And let's tell the listener a little bit about yourself, if you wanted to start off by sharing that. And
Sure. Well,
yeah,
Saskatoon was great. Third and Bird. Shout out to Chandra and her team, Third and Bird. I think it's the first time back since COVID in Saskatoon, and I had a blast. We sold a ton of bars and met great people and just had a great weekend away. Saskatoon's a beautiful city. Reminds me of
it is.
Winnipeg, but just a bit smaller, and was great to get away. So I myself created Cranked. I think we're on our 10-year anniversary, and I mean I don't even know. I think it's I know. I think it's March 2014 was the actual established articles of incorporation. I'd have to check. So we're coming up on a decade, which is a milestone for sure. I know a lot of businesses
No
don't
kidding.
last 10 years. It feels like 10 minutes, but I've aged 10 years for sure running this
Oh
company.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
I just, you know what? I've told this story over and over and I never get tired of it. I started Cranked in my kitchen just as a way to eat healthy, fresh protein bars. I felt there was a hole in the market for really good tasting, non-chalky, grab and go protein from the fridge and couldn't find it out there. And they say, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, you solve a problem. And for me, the problem was that, and I wanted to solve it. And it took 3 years, 72 tries. Protein bars, if you've ever tried to make them, are not easy to make. So it took quite a while. I was also raising 3 really small boys at the time, so it wasn't a full-time passion project for me. I was teaching accounting and finance for the CPA School of Business at the same time while having 3 kids at home. So it was really a side hustle for a long time until, you know, the formulation kind of came together and I shared it with some people, and a retailer, Green Carrot, got a hold of it. Thanks to Abby Khan for taking a chance on us. And then just slowly, I know, you know, it's Winnipeg and people share,
Yeah.
and I'm renting kitchens and I'm dragging children and I'm doing my own deliveries, and then I need to get a space and I need to hire a team. And then we grew into a bigger space. So, and then there's COVID for 3 years in there. So it's been this transitional, starting from one flavor, peanut butter coconut. Now we have 17 flavors and we're working on
Cool.
more. It's evolved into a full scale business, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it's funny. I looked down and I see I have the peanut butter coconut here,
Right?
and I was thinking this is one of the first ones that I tried
That's
at a
the OG bar, and it's
yeah,
still in our top 3. It's just a great everyday, can eat it every day, never get sick of it bar for
yeah.
people. It's comforting to just peanut butter and coconut and protein, and you're set. So I'm always surprised people still eat that one in a lot. But you know what? Every time I eat one, I'm like, oh, I know why. That tastes really good. And salted caramel. I know you have a salted caramel there.
Yes.
And I was just telling you that one's very labor intensive to make, with the pretzel
Yeah.
at the bottom and the sprinkle on top, but it's one of our best sellers, and like I know why. It tastes delicious.
Yeah, you get the salty and the sweet and the peanut butter, and
Yeah,
anyone who's on that path of already
yeah,
probably eating your bars is a fan of those things.
yeah.
And so you're hitting the trifecta on the taste buds there too. And then the other one that I had that I really liked, and there was a couple other ones I've
Mm,
got from you lately. This one's the apple one here too. But I mean,
yeah,
I've had a mix of other ones and they went just as quick. I mean, and everyone has their taste preferences, so it's not like there's anyone that's like
no.
yeah, better than the other one. It's just a personal preference
It's
probably thing.
different. I mean, we used to
Yeah,
have all the flavors were available all the time. That's when we were a lot smaller. As we grew,
right.
we really had to streamline production. And unfortunately, some flavors are really popular with people and they get upset that we don't have them all year available. But from a production standpoint, it's impossible. And while I'd love to like carry apple all year or mini egg all year, it just doesn't make sense financially and production wise. And I think it's nice to have certain flavors on certain months, and it creates a little bit of hype. And if that's your flavor, you stock up that month and you make it last. But there's always 6 core bars we have all year that people can totally find something to eat in. No one wants mini egg all year. Nobody. I know we think we do, but trust me, you don't. Because when you have it, it's so good for those 2 months. And it's coming March, April. Mini egg will release.
March, April mini egg. Awesome.
Yeah.
And do you do I mean, I know it's just kind of like ending fall here, and I didn't look this up. I'm gonna sound silly
That's
maybe right
okay.
away. Did you do anything pumpkin in the fall here at all?
Yeah,
I know that's a very
pumpkin
popular.
was October. It's
Oh,
still
did
on
you?
the
Oh,
yeah, it's still on the website too, because
oh,
we
okay. Well,
do.
there we go.
Yeah, we had some fundraising, teams fundraising. We have a really good fundraising program with schools
Oh, cool.
and sports teams and daycares and anyone wanting to raise money for like a not-for-profit type scenario. We allow them to sell cranked boxes, and we give them $10 a box. And we carried the pumpkin a little bit longer because we had some teams fundraising in October, so it's still available. It's
Awesome.
really good.
Yeah, I'm just creeping out here. Anyone who's watching this a few times knows I'm the one man show. You're doing the research on before and while we're on here, have the website on here. That's good. Cool. Well, I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to grab some of those then. I don't think I grabbed those.
yeah, it keeps it fun and fresh, and something releasing every month is, I think, a great strategy from a business standpoint to keep people engaged all year and
Yeah, for
kind
sure.
of spread out our sales as well. I mean, if we only sold mini egg, we'd be 2 months great, and the rest of the year doing what? So we really try to work on what flavors make sense at what time and what's going to sell, and keep our cash flows at where we need them to be to grow.
Yeah, for sure. Does it seem kind of, I mean, I'm just like thinking and understanding working with other businesses now when you initially did start and you had all these other flavors, and then as time was going on, you're figuring out more efficiencies and really narrowing in on those things. Does that seem funny to look back on now and think of
Yeah.
like that was crazy to carry all those flavors initially, but it was good to help
It
grow,
was great. I mean, I
probably, right?
never used to say no to stuff because
Right.
I wouldn't. I never said we were ever sold out. I would always be making. We would do custom. We some people that couldn't eat cranberries or cinnamon, and we would do a special batch for them. And we just can't do that anymore. And we still get some requests, but unfortunately, well, first of all, there's cross contamination, so I wouldn't want something to end up in
Right.
a
On that
bar that
side.
we couldn't eat. That's our bars are the standard formulation. This is what's in them. They're properly labeled for Canadian health food standards. So what's in the bar, what's in the package is what's actually in the package, and that's kind of how it has to stay
Yeah.
as we're moving forward and getting into new markets. But I do miss being able to customize and that's that small business feel at the start. Yeah,
Right.
it was fun, but it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. I
Yeah.
don't ever say no. I never say no to things, especially early on in the business. And that's why I was working so much and, still teaching and still renting kitchens and doing all this to try to figure it out. Because to me, it was like, we can always make more bars. We can't ever. Now, when we say we're sold out, it's literally because we have no packaging left, right? There's a real
Right.
concrete reason. But before, when we had clear packaging, there was no reason why I couldn't make another batch. So whether it
Oh,
meant
right.
getting early, yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
just
remember those. I remember that it was like a clear and yeah, a sticker on it, right? Or like that was your labeling was on the outside of the yeah.
yeah, and that grew us
Yeah.
right to a point where we could afford during COVID, and I had the time to focus on really next level packaging, more national look, because that is how we do want to grow outside Manitoba and across Canada and
Awesome.
into the US. So that does require a bit of a level up on the packaging.
For sure. Oh, that's so cool. And
Hmm.
how does that look for you guys today? Where can people find, I guess, like the bars when we're talking about that? Because I know I can find them at, or Sobeys right beside us here, and many of
Yeah.
the stores I go into,
In
groceries
Manitoba,
and yeah,
Sobeys, Safeway, Save-On, Vita Health, Popeye supplements, and then we've got a whole bunch of boutiques and coffee shop places, gyms at our store at 1226 Sherwin Road. Our production facility is here, and we're open from 8 to 2 Monday through Thursday for walk-ins and pickups. Yeah, like hockey rinks are carrying them.
I did
We
just
don't
find
have
you
an
have a list on
updated. I
here.
need to update the website for the licensing page because it's changed so much.
Yeah,
But all the major retailers, and they're so great to us, all of them. I mean, probably missing someone, but I should update that locations page and have
No.
almost like let's do like a map, and then everything's really easy. But again,
I think
time.
there is a map on here.
Is there? That would shock me. I don't think we put one on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
There is at the
like a
bottom.
real time, because
Right.
bars, a retailer will have them, and then they slow down and
Right.
they decide not to, and then we need to remove that. So it's this
And update it.
ongoing thing. But the major centers are all carrying cranked bars, usually in the grab and go section where you find the fresh cut fruit, the fresh
Yep.
salads, whatnot. Also, some of them have their own little fridges. Some of them are right at the end of the till with the kombucha, which is great, a great pairing. Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been really lucky.
And it's a function of the bar. Some people may not be familiar with this, but you have to keep yours chilled or in a fridge. I freeze some of mine, so they stay colder longer if I'm dragging them out, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
why is that with the bar?
Well, we don't have any preservatives in them, so we're not. When you're on the shelf, you're obviously putting something on it so it can last a year. We don't. We have a 4-month expiry date on ours. Best before.
Yep.
I mean, cranked bars will never go bad. We do put a best before because after 6 months, peanut butter does lose its texture and its moistness, and we want everyone who eats a crank bar to really enjoy it and have that feeling, that first bite feeling that we want. So we put a best before. Now, it needs to be refrigerated to get that shelf life for you. But if you are out and about for the day, or you're grocery shopping and the bars are sitting out on the counter for a day, it's totally fine. There's nothing raw in our product. It's not going to go bad. It's not going to spoil. You just pop it back in the freezer and it's fine. So, but it's risky being in a fridge. I mean, it's a small space. You don't see a ton of energy bars that are in the fridge because short shelf life, we turn over product every day. It's harder than putting something in a warehouse for a year and then shooting it off to the grocery. We are managing real-time distribution right now.
Totally. Wait, two things though. I sneaked and scrolled through, and I think that's amazing. I did kind of know that about the product. I just want to make sure we chatted about it. Someone knew that where to find you guys there, but
we don't get to educate very often on why our bars are fresh and why they taste better. I mean, in Saskatoon, everyone's saying they don't have that chalky aftertaste. They taste like you're actually eating food, and that's because you're eating like peanut butter and honey and granola and oats and chia and cranberries, like real actual ingredients, without all those chemicals.
Yeah, it's a very clear on the back of the package here to see what's going in.
Yeah, thanks.
Very simple. You understand all the words except for me.
And a nice balance bar. Like we have protein, carbs, fat. We're not a keto bar. I mean, it's a lifestyle bar. It can translate across from athletics to everyday lifestyles, from kids to adults to seniors. Everyone can enjoy them for breakfast, meal replacement, grab and go before, after sports. I see my kids eating one on the bench, when he's practicing. It's great. It translates. And we started out as more like a fitness driven company. I was competing in figure at the time. That was kind of my focus. But then as I got out of competing and realized, the mom life, the running around, the entrepreneur life, balancing everything, I just really needed something to eat in the morning that wasn't going to take a lot of time because I was probably in my car heading somewhere. So this solves that problem. Those breakfast skippers, coffee and cranked, just try it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, guilty as charged. It's usually a protein shake and then some coffee and then lunch, maybe, hopefully.
Maybe
depends.
If you get time.
Unless it's like a meeting. Sometimes I actually don't personally even spend that much time eating that much during the day anymore, just because time. But then but if you do get dragged into like a meeting though, it's almost like I'm like not ready to eat. It's like the opposite. I'm like, do we have to do lunch? Like I've been snacking. Oh. All right, back in. I have a question here. I saw on the map, and we'll kind of go back to the map thing for a sec, but it really caught my eye because not that many people even know where this place is. But I saw it, and maybe I don't know if you're still there or not, but there was this Esterhazy's listed on the map here. Is that still a place that you guys are?
There's a gym there.
Yeah. So how did what's the connection to Esterhazy, or how did?
No, they just found us on social and reached out.
Oh,
yeah, cool. It's great. I mean, we have a pretty active social media page, and a lot of people do, and I love engaging with people on social as well. So I'm always looking for new markets and messaging and seeing if they're interested in trying product, and we'll send some out. And I mean, that's a whole job in itself, right? That's like an evening thing is, scrolling, doing some research, engaging with people checking your own messages, whatnot. And we've outsourced our social media a few times, and I've generally taken it back in-house, just because I miss. Cranked is like a very fluid, there's always something going on. It's very hard to put it into a grid and curate it, because you've got me there going, but wait, we've got this and we've got this. And look, we gave bars to the Bombers this morning for their road trip, right? Like, we wanted to let people know that the Bombers are fueling with Crank this week as they head to the Grey Cup. And so it's very flowy, and it's hard to have someone who wants it very cookie cutter, because that's their business. So I usually take it back on, and I enjoy doing it. Content's not my favorite thing to do, and we'll hire now and then people to help us create some content. But in general, I like taking care of our social media.
Well, I'm sure it helps keep in touch as well with kind of like, I'll call it like the pulse in industry and or with your followers, because I know with different companies, in my experiences too, is there is different energy around companies and how people interact with it. And sometimes certain things will get a great, we'll call it like a very sizable reaction, both on the post and with like DMs for, hey, this is awesome, or how do I get this, or other little nuances that happen within the business. I'm sure it's very helpful for
Well, and
you
everyone
to,
has their own boundaries and whatnot, but I don't like getting an automated message on Instagram when I'm trying to reach out. So I don't have one. You're usually getting me anyways on messaging back directly and personally, which I love too. At some point that might have to change, but for right now it's manageable, and I love connecting with our customers.
That's awesome. That's really cool. Well, you guys have, we haven't really even talked about the social media side yet, but you have a very clean looking page though, outside of it not being like a grid. You take time to do quality photos, and then you can fit it in with more of the live behind the scene kind of.
Yeah, we've definitely hired for content local photographers, and we like to try different ones and give different people business. And we get a lot of requests like, can I do some photos for you? I've got ideas. I love, and we pay for all that. I don't like comping any of that. I don't do trading stuff. I know how hard it is to grow a small business and make money. So you charge me your price and you buy bars at this price, right? So that's how I do business. I'm not into getting stuff for free. That's not really my style. I'd rather much, if we can afford it, we pay for it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's otherwise it's tough. There's too much thinking. There's too many other things going on. You're like,
there's too much expectation. Like, I can't guarantee a photo is going to go viral for you, or you'll get what you need back. So I'm happy to share, but we want to pay for our content. We want to own it and be able to use it. We'll tag you, but I'm more than happy to pay all the time, because they're working hard. Photographers, social media people, they all work really, really hard. Marketing, that's all part of the cog of business. So they deserve it too.
Well, it sounds like it probably would have been very helpful too from the CPA background that you had getting into business. What did you find that to be true as you were growing here, as like, you have that skill set in-house, and you're obviously doing operations, and you still have your finger on the pulse on the marketing and sales side of things. So you're kind of the three pillars of business.
Step back a bit. No, and I just took on more of my accounting, just because my accountant's dealing with some other stuff, and so I'm doing a lot more of that, which I love. I mean, that stuff comes naturally to me. But here's the catch: is sometimes you know so much, then you know too much, right? So sometimes it's like, oh, I'm paying that much for vinyl disposable gloves, right? Like, you see the expenses on a level that it's like, oh, but you can also find areas where, I can negotiate better pricing on. I know there's room, and then I can start diving into those areas and getting that expense line down. So that's the bonus. I can also negotiate deals myself, because I have that background, and I can go in with confidence that I know how much we can pay. I know what it's worth, and I'm not afraid to go in, even as a female, into a manufacturing industry, which is quite male dominated. I've learned to just stand my ground and be confident in our product and what I bring to the table. And it's worked out really well. I just negotiated our new piece of capital equipment with Riser Canada. It's coming in January, and working with Farm Credit Canada on financing that part of it. So, but knowing how much I can afford and how much I can pay every month, and then the interest rates, and kind of having a pulse, like you say, on what's happening in the financial side is just a really good bonus for me. Yeah, I would suggest everyone hires an accountant, no matter no matter what. Like I've had one forever just because it's good to stay on top of it and you don't want to get behind on that stuff. And if you're not
Yep.
familiar with it, have a good lawyer, have a good accountant, have a good business coach. Those are like three big areas that in small business are important to me.
Interesting. Can I dive into one area there on
Mhm,
the business coach side? What
mhm.
what do you still work with a coach or someone
Yeah,
to
I've
help
done a
guide you a little bit?
few mentorship programs. I did the Venture
Yeah.
Park one, which was Arlene Dickinson's program out of
Oh,
Calgary.
yeah.
I was chosen for that one. That was a 4-month program. Wendy Hofford locally, I've used for some um, process manuals at Cranked Energy she's developed for us. She also really helped me figure out what kind of entrepreneur I am, and what my strengths are, which really helped me understand why I take things in business very personally because I'm just that
Cool.
person. I'm a feely, empathetic person, and when it comes to business, I feel that too. Whereas someone else on the other side might be seeing it more as a strategic business relationship. So it's been great to understand that both sides are great, right?
Right.
And you can, yeah. So she's been great. Venture Park. Yeah, I think having a business coach, just whether you need them regularly or you have someone that you're able to connect on a call with for an hour and go through a bunch of stuff, especially if you're managing HR stuff, you have team members,
Right.
there's process, we've got workers' comp stuff here, health and safety here now that has
Right.
to be done. And a business coach can help you figure out what manuals you need. Like we have a work alone policy here, right? Because sometimes staff has to
Yep.
work alone. And so you need those things. What happens if someone's working alone, right?
Yep.
If you don't have cameras, you have to have ways to make sure they're safe and that everything's running okay. Also, cell phone policies are big. Apple Watch policies are big because you can take the cell phone away, but everything's coming on the watch now, right?
Everything is coming on the watch. I
And so
literally
you
just had a little ding there. I thought it was off, but like
yeah,
it happens. That's
but it
exactly.
happens, right? And when you're in
Yep.
production and you're working with equipment and whatnot, you have to take those distractions away. And
Totally.
sometimes you just don't know that stuff. And so a business coach will
Right.
come in, someone like Wendy Holford, and really say, do you have this? Do you have a workers' comp number? Do you have this? Like get everything set up so when
Right.
you need it, it's there and you're proactive,
Yeah.
not reactive, because that's the worst thing to be, I think, in business is the reactive side when all of a sudden you have a workers' comp claim and you don't have a number.
Right.
So, and you haven't
No,
been paying
definitely.
the premiums for it. So yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. So, and what stage of business were you at when you started doing that for your business?
Oh, not like probably 5 years ago. So
Okay.
pretty early on, like before our first scale. And I remember Wendy saying to me, I'm giving her lots of shout outs because she's just fantastic.
That's
No,
great.
she really is. And there's a lot of great business coaches. You just have to go find them and
Yeah.
network and figure out what works for you. But she said
Totally.
early on, Cheryl, if you get out of Manitoba right where you are right now at this stage,
Yeah.
you're not going to make it. You're going to fail because I just
Right.
didn't have the processes in place and I was running it thin. I didn't have a strong enough team in place. And that was
Right.
hard to hear at first because I thought it was, I could take on another 20 retailers, but no,
Right.
she saw it and was really good at making me realize that some of this stuff had to be in order before we did another scale up.
Awesome. That's really cool to hear. I
Mhm.
sometimes from other conversations too is just like it's a time thing, and it's not that you can't eventually get to those other 20 folks, but having the
Totally.
processes in place
Yeah.
definitely key. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
What
been great.
on the side of the scaling, you mentioned the new piece of equipment coming January.
Mhm.
What's that going to do for your business? What is that piece going to offer for you
Yeah.
guys?
It's crazy. Well, so our bars are handmade and we
Yeah.
roll them and then we cut them. And unfortunately, without adding significant more staff, which I would love to add a bunch.
Oh,
Okay, I can start talking about that.
yeah, because as far as like hiring versus like getting this machine, I think that's where we're just at here.
Yeah,
And you'd love to hire more folks, but there's also some major advantages to getting the right piece of machine to offer that
right.
scalability because there's only
Yeah.
probably the hand rolling thing I think is where we were just at there, right? And you're
The hand
saying how like
rolling and the cutting takes up a lot of time. Um, but also we don't want to lose the integrity of our bar, right? So
right,
automating how the bar is made is a big decision. And I went to a lot of packaging expos. I just went to one in Chicago a year ago and
yeah,
met a great people from Riser. And as I was standing looking at this extruder, it's called an extruder,
yeah,
the Cake Boss guy, what's his name, Buddy? Buddy from
Yeah.
Cake Boss. I'm sure people know. He was at the same booth talking to them about a piece of equipment, and I thought, okay. And like he was purchasing something or like finalizing something, and I thought, okay, well, if Buddy from Cake Boss is good with riser, then I should probably like spend some time. And they're in Toronto. And anyways, we worked for a year with them to customize this extruder. So we will still
Right.
blend the dough of the crank dough, but instead of hand rolling it and cutting, it goes into a hopper and then it's pushed out and cut. So it cuts the bar
Right.
as well. So really we're taking away rolling and cutting. So
Awesome.
two actual jobs. Which is great because then we can have more people working on other areas of the business, which
Totally.
I think is with the same team, we're able to maneuver everyone so they can all still have great jobs at Cranked. And then as we grow, we can just keep adding, but it'll scale us up from, I think we blend 3,000 bars a day, and this machine will let us do 1,400 an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
that's what we need for a national contract, right? That's what we need to take on 30 stores in the Maritimes, or,
Right.
a big, like a Sobeys national distribution where we're having to produce, 10,000, 15,000 bars a day instead of 3.
That's
So
so cool.
yeah, it was a big decision. I had to wait till we could afford it and the timing was right. And we're at a point
Yeah.
where we can't do it without more staffing. And we pay really well here, and I want to keep that the same. And the only way to do that is by automating part of the production line.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool to hear. That's
Yeah.
crazy numbers though,
Good.
in terms of like efficiency. I'm sure
I'm
I could
excited.
tell before you were excited, but now I totally get it
I'm
for,
like,
yeah,
yeah. I
that's
mean,
a whole
it's
new
very
level.
manual. It's very hard on the wrists and the rolling. And at some point, there's
Yeah.
repetitive injuries that can come and workers'
Hmm.
comp claims. So you have to look at it in the grand scheme of things, that it's
Yeah.
automation is not a bad thing. It doesn't take away jobs. It provides for those who are working there and
Right.
allows us to scale to then grow the company in other areas. Maybe I end up getting like a COO, right? I would love a COO, but there's no money in the pot. So I got to do that myself, right? Or someone to
Sure.
help with HR. Like there's definitely jobs that will be coming up
Right.
for.
That's very cool. And then, I mean, at that level of production, that sounds more like pallets of stuff.
Yes,
And I don't know where you're at now versus maybe you
boxes.
already do make pallets, but for sure that sounds like a
No, we
pallet.
don't do pallets. Definitely not. We don't. We turn
Yeah.
over. We would rather a store order, 100 boxes, which we can ship, versus 1,000, and then they're sitting in a warehouse. And funny thing is, a lot of grocery, which I don't know if a lot of people know, a lot of grocery, they just order what they're able to put on the shelf at that time, right?
Okay.
So I know, especially in the U.S., that's a very big thing. Is they don't have a lot of some
Storage.
groceries don't have a lot of storage, right? And
Huh.
so what they're ordering is 5 or
Yeah.
6 boxes. They put it right on the shelf. That's it. So
Yeah.
that's why we're turning over so much.
That does make a lot of sense. Actually,
Yeah,
shout out to Safeway. I used to work at Safeway.
yeah.
And I worked in the produce area actually there.
Mhm,
And the only thing that we really had stored back there were bananas.
mhm.
And it was like 15 years ago. And then we had a cooler there for some stuff that
Right,
salad kits we would put back there at night to have
right.
them more chilled and then put them back out in the
Yeah.
day. But besides that, there was really actually nothing
No,
behind the
and you
scenes
think
there.
of the smaller boutique groceries, they really
Oh yeah,
don't have, and we do really well in boutique groceries, especially in,
yeah,
we love the rural towns where they're getting cranked out to their stores, which is great, but there's no storage. So for us to ship pallets really
right.
isn't very useful right now either way.
Not yet, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, it's neat to think about that though. I mean, if you're making
Mhm.
that many bars, you probably
That's
have
the
to.
next level. Maybe
Yeah, and
next year we'll revisit.
yeah,
We'll be shipping across Canada on pallets. That'd be great.
awesome. Have you ever thought of getting into like other products such as like coffee, since it is like coffee and
No.
cream? Have you ever like, I don't know, just wondering. Yeah,
No, we've got some new flavors and we
yeah,
want to expand the gluten-free, dairy-free line. A lot of people have
okay,
asked us because we only have the 2 chocolate and vanilla options for plant-based bars. So we definitely am working on a
neat.
few new flavors for that. I eat gluten-free, dairy-free, so that would be great for me as well. And then we have a few fun flavors that are in testing right now. Um, that'll come out. So I think there's just so much opportunity within the
Yeah.
products we have right now. And with the machinery and the investment that we have, we get asked to co-pack a lot from smaller companies, starting
Oh,
some type of bar. So that's always an option as well. And private labeling, we've been asked to private label. I have a meeting this month on one of them. I can't say who it is, but
that's
um,
cool.
yeah, like there's opportunity with the equipment that we're going to have and the space that we have to
Right.
run those machines nonstop if we needed to.
Right. That would almost get you, if you're thinking like private label stuff, almost back in a way to doing those custom flavors. In a
Right.
roundabout way, you'd almost be doing that again, but different scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, that's
Yeah.
really cool that you'd be able to do that. I know some companies, I mean, they're very successful in just like doing that for other
Mhm.
companies. I don't think
Yeah,
that's
like
maybe
they don't
your
want to
direct.
invest in the equipment and the machinery and
Yeah.
the labor and the expertise that we have. As long as it wasn't a cranked bar, we're fine.
Yeah.
We can collaborate on any other kind of bar, but we won't private label our
Right. Your stuff. But
recipes. No.
yeah, that's cool. How long does it take to make one of these flavors? To like test
Um,
run and everything like that. What does that look like for you guys?
like a year, like salted caramel took a year.
Yeah.
I know people think it happens overnight, but no, because and we have someone in testing, and I have my secret taste testers that I send bars to that give me honest feedback and that will never share what flavors they're tasting and whatnot. And they give honest feedback, like it's okay if they don't come back and say it was amazing, it tastes exactly like
What
it
year?
says what it should
Yeah.
be, then I keep working. I keep tweaking, I keep figuring out what it needs, what it doesn't need, within staying within our macros, because all crank bars are within the same macros. So that's really a game of playing, to make sure we keep the bars
Right.
exactly, between 17 and 21 grams of protein, between 290 and 300 calories. That I have very clear guidelines that I want to stay in for that. So it takes a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
it's fun.
what inspires the new flavors? Is it like do you like make
Mm.
time in the day to like be like, hey, okay, like, this is what we, could do? Or is it like you taste something at a restaurant and then you're like, hey, what if we did, you
Yeah,
know?
like our team will come, like, we're very collaborative here, so the team will say, "Oh, have you ever thought we should," and we'll put it up on the wall, a possible idea.
Cool.
Our cold brew crisp bar that is an August flavor was
Yes.
our summer student 2 years ago. His name's Kyle, and he was sitting there, and he was packaging, like, boxing up bars, and he just looked at me, and he's like, Cheryl, you should do a bar with coffee crisp." And I was like, and coffee in it. And he's like, yeah. No, literally cold brew crisp came out like probably 4 months, 5 months later. That was a fast one. We're able to
That's
turn that one
cool.
over. So yeah, like
Neat.
we've
Yeah.
had requests for, some request stuff that I just don't know if it would work. Lemon, I don't know if lemon and peanut butter will go, but we marinate on it. I mean, it's always in the tank, right? It's stuff. Our flavors are very trendy. It's like taking your favorite guilty treat like mini egg or Oreo cookies or like cookie dough that Popeyes has for exclusive cookie dough, and putting it into a cranked bar that's
Yeah.
healthy, and you're still getting like a tray, like
Right.
24 cookies and cream bars. We use two Oreos for. When you
In
think
the
about
whole
in the
thing.
entire tray, two
That's
Oreos.
that's
I know,
funny.
isn't it? You think
Yeah.
but no, it's very, but it feels like the brain body connection. It feels like you're getting a little bit of a treat, but it's better than eating a sleeve of cookies. We always say that. The mini egg bar was created literally because I ate the entire bag of mini egg during COVID, like the big one, and felt so sick. And I thought, God, there's got to be a better way for me to not consume an entire bag. And I was like, why don't I make it into a bar? And
Oh,
mini egg bars
awesome.
have maybe 2 eggs in them. It's like the perfect balance, right?
Yeah. That is.
So
You're kind of tricking your body into
yeah,
having
like you're
like a little
tricking,
bit of a
not
snack.
that you need to be tricked, but I mean, we all wanna have
Yeah, a
balance.
little bit.
It's nice to have both, and cranked energy bars provide that.
That's really cool. How about when you're heading in like the plant um protein? I kind of heard you maybe say that a
Yeah,
little bit more. Are there some specific like stuff and some time and egg for me to kind of have some insight there to just following different companies' journeys as
yeah.
they're growing, like three farms out in Sask there, and have some connections with folks in that end of things. I don't know if you're looking like like that style like plant protein, but what would that look like in your bars for what gets added in from the plant side of things to make them plant protein?
Well, plant protein, we use this pea protein
Cool.
based.
Yeah.
It all depends on how it mixes.
Right.
Our crank bars don't have chalky aftertastes, so that's very important to us. So we test a lot of proteins that, and some of them just mix chalky, some of them don't, and so it's like this. That's why it takes so long. It's this constant R and
Totally.
D we're in all the time, and things just don't release quickly overnight because if it doesn't taste like it should, like you should know you're eating a cranked bar, right?
Right.
That's the big thing is no chalky aftertaste. Every bite tastes amazing. And so for plant proteins, it's tougher. It's a bit chalkier. And so far we've only been able to find a chocolate and vanilla one that we like. So
Right.
that's not to say we won't, test more or maybe go into flavoring our own. That's also an option. We do flavor some of our own protein. Pumpkin spice is flavored by us,
Cool.
gingerbread's flavored by us. So there is opportunity to flavor our own protein eventually.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That'd be very neat. And I
Mhm.
actually have tried a pea protein like for like workout shake
Yeah.
stuff, and I would agree that the one that I had was very like
Chalky.
chalky and stuff. Yeah, it was tough to eat, but I wanted to try it for a period of time because I was like, let's try this thing out, let's give it a test run, and I'm very
Yeah.
much on the mindset of try
It's
it and
hard.
then
Yeah.
have the experience, see what it's like and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know if
They're
I really even
definitely
went
hard.
back
They're
to it.
just not as light. They're denser.
Right.
It's just a different protein. But our bars hopefully don't taste chalky, even with the plant
No, yeah.
in them. So yeah, that's definitely an
Huh,
area that we want to expand, especially outside of Manitoba. In BC, it's
right.
very popular, depending on the demographics of the province. So being able to
Yeah.
have, some stores in BC, we have a store in Penticton that only carry 3 of our bars because there's one ingredient, I don't know which one it is, but they will not carry. Like they're like the super clean label, right?
Right.
So it's hard to get around that. Stevia is in protein powders to flavor and whatnot. So
Right.
we're learning as we grow that
Mhm.
certain bars are accepted in certain markets and certain ones aren't. And that's okay. So we want to really have a really good, vast variety to be able to accommodate everyone.
That is really cool. I mean, how many bars, I guess like some of them being seasonal and stuff, but let's say in like the last like year here, like how many flavors
We
would
have
you be
17
17?
total. Yeah, 6 core that are available all year, and then 11 seasonal, one every month, but Mini Egg gets 2 months.
I mean, awesome. Okay, very cool.
Mini Egg is special. It gets 2 months worth.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, one every month. And that might change. Like apple and banana don't sell a ton.
Yeah.
Maybe we take a break from that. We've had strawberry before. It's like a peanut butter jam sandwich. We've done that
Oh,
before.
neat.
We haven't labeled it and put it into the Canadian health food labeling
Huh,
standards. So that might be something we do for this coming summer. Maybe taking a break from banana and putting in strawberry. So
cool.
there's options there. We've done pistachio before. That was a great bar. Um,
Neat.
but I feel like Starbucks needs that bar. I'm kind of hanging on for Starbucks to call me and be like, "We're just buy your pistachio bar and, and have it private labeled to Starbucks." That's like I'm manifesting that, speaking it.
Sure. Well, why not? Yeah, hopefully they watch
If
this.
anyone has any
They can
Starbucks
check it out.
contacts, contact me. 'Cause I
That's
think that there's
awesome.
missing a lot of coffee shops, and we do quite well at coffee shops, but a lot of the bigger chains, I want to
Right.
say, yeah, I just feel like a lot of their goods are baked goods, and not everyone wants to go and get a coffee and a baked good anymore. I've seen some
Yeah.
great growth in egg white bites and whatnot, having some options, which is great. Oatmeal, great option, but the grab and go space is still, I think, lacking in those big chains.
Yeah. No, I think you're definitely right. I mean, I'm manifesting that for you too. I think that'd be so cool to see after having
Right?
said that out loud now and
Yeah.
then
Doesn't have to
in a
say crank
Starbucks.
bar on it, but we'll just make them for you.
That would be awesome. You could pretty much do a calendar. I don't know if you have one already
Yeah.
that exists,
No,
but
we
you could
we
do a crank calendar.
I know.
Yeah.
We've talked about doing them in like bite-sized little bite-sized format. So
Oh, that'd be neat.
maybe next year. That
Oh,
would mean me getting my stuff together to October, November, December are crazy. Like once October hits, we are so busy till mini eggs done. It's Gingerbread launches. We got Third and Bird this weekend. That's a busy show. Toffee is this month, and it's a busy month
Oh,
for Toffee. Lots of fundraising because hockey's on and all the sports are
right.
happening. We're fundraising with a lot of teams. And then we go into gingerbread, candy cane for Christmas. And then everyone takes a break. We close down over the Christmas holidays. Everyone takes a nice break. And then January, the new machine's going to come and it's go time. We got mint chocolate chip in January, chocolate cherry in February, and then March, April, mini egg. Like
Yeah.
busy. Yeah. It's
I
great.
love that mini egg is almost like kind of like in my mind from the episode here. It's kind of it's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cranked energy bar is great, but the mini egg inclusion was definitely a pivotal
I
point.
know
And
that did pivot us, that especially
yeah,
during COVID. That was a
cool.
really, I mean, thank God I ate that whole bag of mini eggs in the kitchen by myself one night. And I'm just like, oh, that wasn't a good idea. I felt so sick. God. And then I was like, I should just make a bar with that. That would kind of satisfy everyone. And everyone needed a little pep up then. And we were, oh my God, see, we were sending mini egg bars to doorsteps like
Yeah,
for a year. We just kept it going because we thought it would just be like for 1 month. And
right.
I mean, COVID just kept going. So we just kept making mini egg, and you can get mini eggs all year. Who knew? I mean,
Yeah, you kind of think that would
buy
be
them all
more.
year. Yeah. So I thought people would get sick of them and they didn't. But then now it's much better, having its own 2-month stint and people can go
Yeah,
crazy for 2 months. It's great.
that's awesome. That is really great. I think
Mhm.
we covered the works here for what's coming
Yeah.
up. I know folks will be able to find you. This should be out on this Friday here in November, and folks will be able to find you. Third and Bird is this weekend. You said right?
Bird and Bird starts Friday. Yeah, Friday,
Friday,
Saturday,
yeah.
Sunday.
Awesome.
Online, we do delivery right to doorsteps when you order 2 boxes. We've got all the major grocery stores, and Popeye Supplements is a huge seller for us. Vita Health's a huge seller for us. So, I mean, most of the groceries that you're shopping at are carrying cranked bars now. And if they're not, talk to them. Say, hey, carry these bars for us. We want to buy them. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can reach out to me on Instagram or through our website. You can find me on LinkedIn as well under Cheryl Zealand and connect. I love connecting with people and yeah, growing that way
awesome.
too.
That is great. That is perfect. I think that we had a great episode here today, learning about cranked
Yeah,
energy, and
thank
I've kind of witnessed this fantastic conversation today to hear the behind the scenes more. Had the bars for a number of years, and I was genuinely very excited to have you on here and
yeah,
hear the story, and I'm sure other
yeah,
people are too, to hear more from you. And that you already do a great job sharing your story online, but hopefully this will be a great way for other people to connect with
yeah.
you as well.
Thank you. And thank you for all the work that you do and getting businesses on and learning more. It's an investment into your community, so your business community. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, hopefully we can get to, as I mentioned before, we're on the road to 100, and if I say it out loud, we'll
It's
get to 100, and pistachio bar will happen too for Starbucks. That's how this works.
We'll
Yeah,
reconvene when that happens for us.
yeah, absolutely. That sounds great.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Have a great day.